What do you mean by that? Music is one of the most powerful tools in the whole of creation. Sound, sound, frequency, energy, all of that is just so interconnected. So you can't really sidestep that at all. I think every artist have a social responsibility, to be very honest. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it is what it is. You can't just evade the laws of physics and science just because you want to make a point or just because you want to exclude yourself. As musicians, the pioneers of sound, frequency, energy, because all of that connected to energy, you have to take some sort of responsibility when it comes to how your sound, how your energy, how your music impact other people.
Boom! People, Davin and Tonil back again with the number one Jamaican podcast in Murcia, Spain.
Number one Jamaican podcast in Europe.
And today we are blessed by the presence of YEZA, Jamaican reggae artist. And she's coming for the world just like we are trying to conquer the world. She will be the new face of reggae.
Real heavyweight. When me swing, me drop the whole place shake.
YEZA, I jump straight night. When you hear somebody say, yo, this person is the face of reggae, what comes to your mind?
I mean, they're currently the ambassador on a global scale. So I think different people take the baton at different times, and several people can, in the relay race, so to speak. Yeah, basically.
You have a favorite flag bearer who has ever carried the reggae baton before?
A favorite what?
A flag bearer for reggae.
Oh,
Or
flag bearer.
face, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like when you really look at it, I really love the Ray Darwin, Mighty Diamonds. Um, yeah, those are some of my favorite gladiators. The gladiators, yeah,
And
and many others.
I see where, for example, you draw some inspiration from some of the artists back then in your music, in your latest album, Star of the East, which is very good. You think your style of reggae will be the future of reggae, mixing old Jamaican music and putting a reggae beat on top of it with a modern style? You think that's the future of reggae?
Um, I don't know as it relates to the future of reggae because I feel like every artist is kind of bringing what they perceive to be the future of reggae. Every artist is doing that, so they might look upon their sound as the future of reggae. I don't know. So personally, for me, is not really looking to the future as to what that will sound like. It's more so me as an artist, me as an individual. What can I bring to this time in terms of my contribution to what has already been laid? It's like I look at it like building or construction, in that sense. So what can I do with what I have? How will I lay my bricks in that sense?
Yeah. And the question we normally start out with before we so jump forward is what do you think your purpose is?
Yeah, I love that. So my purpose for me is, first of all, it comes before music. I feel like my purpose is before music in the sense that it is fundamental to who I am. And I feel like I am a philosopher, first of all. And I feel like music is just it's a powerful tool, but it is my tool. It's one of my tools. And the purpose is surrounding bringing consciousness to people in a way there where they can digest it. And especially being a woman, I feel I'm here to represent feminine energy, unlike a lot of people have perceived it. We usually look upon that as either hypersexual or hyperconscious, and some way, somehow, I happen to be in the middle of both. Whereas I realize the importance of sensuality but also not being restricted to consciousness because I'm acknowledging myself first and foremost as a whole and a total being. This concept is very new to people. And so I feel like my purpose is to kind of bring back that kind of understanding, which is a fundamental principle of not just me as a person or as a woman, but as a force of nature. I mean, duality is a part of nature, I feel like. So balance as well is a part of nature. So I feel like my purpose definitely is surrounding the notion of bringing people back to the core functions of what does a woman represent, first of all, and second of all, spreading consciousness in a way where it is digestible and a regular person can get something from it.
Okay. So you want to, I feel like you're picking a hard fight there then, because it's hard to have that balance between sensuality and hypersexuality, especially as a woman, because it then comes down to the subjective nature of your audience and what they perceive it as, especially if you want to incorporate it with a certain level of consciousness. Because if you see someone that is showing off their sensuality and sharing a conscious message, it's like two opposing forces coming together. You know, it's like me going and see a gangster tell me say yo don't bust gun, but every day him go bust gun. You get me? I say so. Is there a way that you feel like it's harder for you to do that per se instead of just picking a lane? For example, you have so many female artists where they just lean into their sexuality and use that to sell their art, even if it's not what they really want to do, but it's like more marketable that way. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm. To be honest, I think it's the flip. If we look at reggae and dancehall space, we can say that there's a lot of suppression on both sides,
Yeah.
right? I think the most natural way to go about this is to actually be yourself. I think a lot of artists are not necessarily being themselves. So if you step into consciousness, there is a suppression of your sexuality and your sensuality. And when you step into dancehall, some people are actually smart. Skillibeng even mentioned that he downplays the level of intellect that he puts in his music because he understands what his audience wants. So I think in both aspects is not natural, is actually a curtailing of one or the other aspects of yourself. The most natural approach is my approach, where I acknowledge that, listen, I'm smart. I appreciate evolution and consciousness. I'm also a sexy woman. And it's easy for me to do that because it's really who I am. I feel like a lot of the perversions, them too, they are born from the idea of I have to be a specific thing. And because of that, we have a lot of rastas, etc., in the conscious environment. Because them neglect that aspect of themselves to the public, you realize that behind closed doors, it's explosive and unstable when it comes to their sexual life. And this is a pattern that I have been looking at. And my reasoning behind it is because of the suppression and because we're not being honest about our true nature.
Yeah. You think it has to come down to what they deem as being more profitable as well? Is it I will subdue this part of my personality in order to increase the chances of me being a profitable artist?
Yeah, of course. A lot of things are involved. Profit, marketability, etc. And as you say, what my stance is probably going to be problematic because it's relatively, we can argue about it in terms of if we've seen it before, but it's relatively a new stance, and all that it is just me daring and being brazen enough to say, when I just come into the industry, only by people are telling me I need to wear one long dress in order to sing conscious music. A lot of people force me to do that. And I look at myself before that and I'm like, well, I'm not this type of person. Genuinely, I grew up in the dance hall. So sound system culture, sound clash, them thing there out of Star the East. My literal address is Star the East. That was a thing when I actually was so engulfed in. It became a part of me. So like Root Girl Roots is coming from just having access, direct access to that street culture. But at the same time, the sound system them play dancehall music and conscious music alike. You know, say as a Jamaican, when you go to the party or you go to dance, them a go juggle whole heap of conscious music as we call it, and then towards the heat of the dance, them start to play it like the raw chat dancehall. So I've internalized that so much because where I live is literally like a hub for all of these dancehall parties. And I'm saying all of that to say, when I looked at that and I looked at who I really was and all of that, stepping into music, I don't think that should have changed anything. And I think this is what people do, you know, when them step into it, them kind of change it. Mind you, I want to say something that is very important. A lot of people may look at this and say, well, order is necessary and structure is necessary. Of course it is. But we're always going to look at it from the eye of constructive expression. So anything with me I bring is still within the lines of constructive expression. It's not distortion and it is not veering away from what is holy or righteous. In fact, I would argue that it is the true righteousness because it's not pretentious and it is still in a sense where women like me, I live in a way where I respect myself and you earn access through respect, among other things. So by no means are we saying to be slack. In fact, it's the opposite.
A lot of people sell body positivity um in the form of a lot of lewd and sexuality as well. You know, if you get what I'm saying, like it will be very slack, but then they package it as body positivity. For example, for lack of a better name, like Cardi B's entire thing. A lot of people might say, "Oh, she's being very body positive with what she is portraying herself as an artist." But in my opinion, I feel that is body positivity in the guise of a male dominated society that wants more women to be exposing themselves sexually so they gain the most benefit, and then they encourage more women to do it under that guise of it being body positivity. And I see you in terms of that approaching it from a different aspect, but then there's also a very thin line there. Do you feel like a lot of female artists, take advantage of their sexuality to say, hey, I'm being very sexually explicit in my lyrics, in my presentation, but it's all in the name of female empowerment?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I think this nuance is something that we definitely have to look at because as you said, there is a very thin line between them. And I think that that line boils down to, I would say, intention and the level at which, you're leaning towards one thing. For me, when it starts to become destructive, then it's not pure. The purity for me is the presentation and the intention. So you're right. There is a lot of nuance as it relates to that. I think if we are open to really feeling and understanding when we see certain visuals, I think we're capable of actually discerning whether it's one thing or the next. I feel like a woman who is just about exploiting, it's gonna feel different. It's gonna look different. It's gonna have a certain appeal. But when, for instance, women like me who were just comfortable in that essence, you're going to get the full spectrum of who we are. You're not just going to get the sexual aspect. You're going to see, and you're going to be, in a sense, forced to engage with other aspects of who we are. So I think that is also one thing that you can use to differentiate. For a woman who is leading with her organic sensuality, you're going to get the full spectrum of who she is, more than likely. And for the woman who's exploiting sex and whole body positivity notion, as I mentioned, she's going to be coming from an angle where you're not really going to realize or you're not going to get much of her character outside of that kind of caricature.
Hmm.
And is it hard to get your message across when the water is basically so muddied with women in music exposing their bodies and these kind of things? You find it hard to get your message across?
Not really. I feel like my message is just that the distortion is real. A lot of great things are being exploited. Um, so I think when with all in all aspects, you have purity in all aspects of things. As it relates to money, as it relates to sensuality or sexuality, as it relates to love and relationship, there's always going to be the dark side of this thing, which by itself is not a negative thing, but by the means and the essence of how it's being used, we can say it's negative. And I feel like we tend to do that a lot. So it's easy to pull on that and to say, not because one thing is being exploited in a certain way, mean that the actual thing is bad. So it's really that I just used to answer the question. Sexual energy is, of course, exploited time and time and time again. But does that mean we should wear a bed sheet as women? I don't believe so. Because in that sense, we're just responding to something just to be opposed to it rather than understanding self.
Yeah. And it's a natural part of life, because I respect what you do in terms of that, in that you explore sensuality and sexuality in a way that is not normally done by reggae artists, especially the female reggae artists, because then if they go down that path, they run the risk of being judged as not being a reggae artist anymore. Now you're another dancer artist that does some reggae. They basically perceive it as, because we in a Jamaica, you don't know, we're very subjective and we're very judgmental as Jamaican people. We're quick to judge without even understanding a lot of the
Yeah.
situation. But then you're in an industry where you are a minority in the industry. Your voice is drowned out by 10 other female artists that every other one of their songs is about how good their vagina is compared to another. You get what I say?
Yeah.
Because it's hard for a man listen, because I can listen your music, right? But then you have
Mhm.
female dancer artists out there that put out music. I can listen one of their songs, maybe, but their entire catalog, if they put out an album, 70% of it is saying how good them crutches is. And realistic at my age, that's no appeal. That's no
You want some
longer,
upliftment, some
yeah,
upliftment.
it's no appeal. It's like the music just got too, the man them, how bad them is, the woman, how good them crutches is. And then it just trickle down in the culture. And then you have a lot of young girls where me have sisters and thing, where them self-worth can get construed in how good them crutches is. You ever realize that in Jamaica? Like so many
Yeah,
women base them self-worth on how good them crutches is.
yeah, yeah. You're right.
And
I'm a feel like it's a tragic thing, to be honest, when we really look on it, because it's like in order for figure out say you think that good, I forgot on a rampage where yeah, and yeah, have interactions, intimate relations with several. What is the dating pool? What is the statistics
In the
of,
end
I don't
goal.
know. You,
mm,
you know what kind of number are we looking at in order for you to amass the statistical evidence that your thing is better than the other? Isn't
what was
it's
the
like,
sample size?
oh yeah, what's the sample size? Like it's really, it's something we'll have to really think about, because in saying that you're telling us that you go around the place and you do all of these things in order for reach that kind of conclusion. And I think that is detrimental to you, because I mean, as a woman, as a man, doesn't matter. Like discernment, and these are things that when me enforce as an individual, as I say, it's not just about slackness, it's about discernment, and access should be earned, quite frankly.
Mm.
So
so
it's it's
so
it's it's a little bit dangerous for me.
so to you the new trend of being very open in that regard and trying to embrace that and push that on young girls and saying this is the way forward? You're not, you're against that?
Yeah, I'm not with that. Especially when it comes down to just surrounding your whole identity and self-worth around your vagina. I feel like that is distortion and that is so dangerous. As people, before we even reach woman, as people and human beings,
Mm.
we never understand the level at which we can understand things and grapple with concepts and evolve. You see me? There's so much to it.
Mm.
And then you want to reduce all of that to what you can do in the bedroom. I feel like it's really it's sad, you know. But when we look on things overall, I can say that I understand why them do it. We're living in a hypersexual world, and we're living in a system that rewards that. I mean, even me personally, as a balanced person, I tend to post some things about intellectual understanding and other things about, um, my body or my physical appearance or self care, and the algorithm favors one over the other, and these are the things where encourage women to act in a certain way and to push out certain things because the system supports one thing over the next, and this is a big part of it. So it's not just about what they want for push out, it's also about what are we rewarding,
Yeah.
you know.
And with that said, a lot of artists, they try to take away their responsibility in terms of the consciousness or the message they put out and saying it's up to the audience. Their music does not influence the behavior of anyone that listens to it. You feel that is the case?
Oh no, what do you mean by that? Music is one of the most powerful tools in the whole of creation. Sound, sound, frequency, energy, all of that is just so interconnected. So you can't really sidestep that at all. I think every artist have a social responsibility, to be very honest. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it is what it is. You can't
Mm.
just evade the laws of physics and science just because you want to make a point or just because you want to exclude yourself. It don't work like that.
Mm.
It's consistent across the board. And as musicians, the pioneers of sound, frequency, energy, because all of that connected to energy, you have to take some sort of responsibility when it comes to how your sound, how your energy, how your music impact other people. It goes without saying. So I feel like a lot of artists when them try to take themselves out of that because them know within themselves that them are perpetuate certain things. um it just not consistent, and I feel like you can't really do that logically.
Yeah.
The next thing as it relates to that is just when we look on some of the artists, they're saying that the environment is what influenced the art, so them try to work it with the chicken and the egg thing, which one come first. And them say, well, it's not really the music is to be blamed, it's the environment that creates the kind of music. And to that I say, we have the capacity as humans to experience a wide variety of things. And without being a musician, without being an artist, it's what you do with that experience that determines how you evolve as an individual. And the same thing can be transferred to music and musicians. That experience, whatever you're visualizing and participating in, it's how you metabolize that now that determines your evolution and also how you impact other people. Is still a responsibility, whether it's personal or when it comes to the artist, professional. It's still a responsibility.
Do you want to
100%.
be a role model? And are you a role model?
Um, I feel like I don't want to say I'm a role model, but I do feel like I do feel like I represent that in some sense. The
How does
reason
that
why I don't want to
responsibility
say I'm a
feel?
role model is because, yeah, it depends on who you're asking that question. You get me? But for me, yeah, I feel like, yeah, I would say that I am. I try to live as best as possible. I try to honor all
Um,
of the principles of righteousness. So yeah,
and how is carrying this responsibility? Do you think you do a good job?
yeah, I do feel so. Um, when it comes to people who are around me, I think the most them can say is that I am a no nonsense person. I deal with justice, I deal with fairness, and I deal with certain things in a way where I know say it could benefit everybody. I'm not saying I have demons, but these are things when I actively confront and try to work on, probably more so than the average person, you know. So things what them call like shadow work and them something there, these are things I'm gonna do all the time, you know, constantly trying to refine myself, constantly trying to evolve. So I feel like yeah, I can be seen as that.
Do you think that if you didn't put these constraints on yourself in order to grow, I probably you said to evolve more, that you'd be further in your career as an artist?
First of all, I don't see them as constraints. I wouldn't use that because it's like I feel like says some we human beings will miss the point of why we're there in the first place, to be honest. Um why are we here as human beings? I don't see it as a constraint. I feel like when we look upon just history, I'm a history major, you see me? And just how where we're coming from. Like I think the fundamental question we have to ask ourselves is why are we here? So all of the things that we mention and you say it is like a constraint. It's not a constraint for me. It's
Mhm.
evolution. This is why we're here. You see me? We're not there for project and to repeat patterns continuously. It's like as humans, we have brain and we have perception and we can become self-aware. Why do we have that capacity more so than the earthworm in the ground per se and maybe other animals per se? Is because we're here for evolution. We're here to achieve what some might call the pinnacle or avatar state or enlightenment, as what Buddha would have said. And
Self
that is what I
actualization.
truly believe. So I don't see it as a restriction. And to answer the part now about my career, I feel like I am exactly where I need to be.
Mhm.
And the reason why I feel like that is because may I follow my internal compass. I don't feel like that can tell a lie. I don't feel like that can give me the wrong direction. So I don't feel like if certain things were not certain things, then it would have been a different way, maybe more success, etc. Because I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be right now.
Mhm.
Because going back to the purpose aspect of things, I believe that whenever we come into this space, I don't know what your beliefs are, religious and otherwise, but personally, as a spiritual person, I believe when we come into this space, into this realm, we come in with an assignment, we come in with a specific mission. My mission, I feel like, is this exact thing that I am participating in as a musician, as a messenger. And by that, nothing can be wrong about it. Nothing can be, delayed about it. I'm on time, as I feel. Yeah, so because of that now, I feel like I have a different level of confidence when it comes to how I move right now. And when I worry about the next side of the coin, it doesn't occur to me because me walking in when me know is my purpose. And how do I know that? Because of so many hours of reflection, deliberating, method of elimination, shadow work, as you want to call it, all of these things, many hours on top of hours. And then intuition is a very strong one as well for me personally. Yeah, I know that this is why I'm here. So I can't fail.
Yeah. But what's the biggest test that you've faced? The biggest challenge in realizing this? Has there even been a time where you're like, if I make this decision, it will compromise my values a little bit, but I will earn a lot from it? Has there been something like that, throughout your life, throughout your career, where you felt like that might have been a decision?
So you talk about like compromising my morals and thing like that.
Yeah, like an inside
Yeah,
battle. You ever have an inside battle with yourself? For remain
yeah,
yourself and doing what you do?
yeah. For
I
example,
think
so for example,
yeah.
just around, if a man come to you and say, "Yo, I have a $1 million US record deal for you, but you need to go topless in this photo shoot."
Oh, all right. Them
That
things
like
them enough.
some
Yeah,
them things
okay.
there.
I get what you're saying. First of all, I don't know, I have a frightened bone. I don't really have
Mm-hmm,
frightened bone.
mm-hmm,
I've been bribed many times. It doesn't. I'm not frightened. If it's misaligned, it's just misaligned. You see me? So as it relates to that, my morality is very strong. My code of conduct is very strong. You can ask my management team and people that are around me. It's very strong. I'm not going to be bought. That's one thing you can do. You can't buy me. You get me? It have to align, and I have to be willing to do it. My team come to me already with certain things, and at the time it didn't feel morally right. Regardless of the rewards, I'm going to say no.
mm. You care to
So
expound on
my
that decision?
understanding is a different kind of individual because maybe that is something with not so common. I don't know. But this is how I operate. You know, this is how I operate.
So there has never been any time that you have given in to your inner beast. It doesn't have to be somebody offering you $1 million for cut your hair, for example, but like
Of
to
course,
say so,
well, many
like
times because naturally me's a introvert will want to stay in my house. So me going to all of these events to network and all of these things is me compromising my peace. I would say that,
okay,
you
okay,
know,
okay.
Mm,
like that is it for me. But for me, it's like okay, it's kind of like working out or exercising. You don't like the pain of it, but you know that it's for the greater good. When it is in this kind of form, I don't mind, sacrificing, so to speak. But if it's compromising ethics and morals and values to a great degree, I'm not going to engage.
mm. How did Yeza get to this point of realization? Growing up, how did you get to this point?
It's not just one event, it's like so many different episodes of growing and learning. And I spent a lot of time just in solitude, uncovering certain things, a lot of tears, a lot of dark room, as what Shana say. You get me? Just really reflecting, reading, understanding myself, trying to go through certain trauma that I've been carrying around. And I think a lot of people, them not necessarily engage in that, and then they want they want to arrive here. And not to say every day is a process for me. Every day is like one of those moments where I still introspect and try to process things. So I'm by no means saying that I arrive, but I feel like a lot of people avoid it, and then they want like real confidence, they want real light. But I feel like there's only one way to reach that, and it's to face the dark, is to face all of the shadow them way you have in yourself. And that's something that I've never been afraid of doing. One thing I really feel like is I have to be able to be comfortable with what's going on in me, inside of me. So a lot of people might feel a certain way, but because them know so nobody else not know about it, it's all right with them. But for me, I can't do that because the relationship I have with myself is the most important. So I can't hide things from me. It's like it's impossible. So whenever that come up, I have to take it out, I have to pluck it out, I have to confront it in a sense so that I can dissolve it because I can't allow anything where disturb the connection I have with me for flourish in a me in that way there. So that's the approach I'm gonna take, and I feel like that's incrementally added to where I'm at right now.
Are you an only child?
No, why ask that?
Because you say you get a lot of time with yourself. I don't know if from a young age or maybe in your adult life and you go inside yourself a lot.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was wondering maybe if you grew up as an only child because I'm an only
No,
child.
man, I am the oldest of
Okay.
all of my siblings. I'm the oldest of all my
Then that's
siblings.
why you never have a choice but to be conscious then because you have to lead others.
That's a good perspective. I never think about that yet in terms of that, but I think from young, like my brothers and thing, I've always been like, because my mom and my dad, them never necessarily their own way all the time. So I've kind of been a mother to them in some sense.
Mhm.
And I kind of had to kind of figure out emotional intelligence, like dealing with my little brother because he had to go to school or whatever the case may be, and helping him with him homework, stuff like that. I feel like I had to kind of develop some sort of intelligence outside of what we're learning at school. It's the intelligence where you understand others' needs, others' wants, and also,
Patience.
yeah, patience. It helps you to kind of even understand yourself too, like how patient are you, how much can you tolerate, things like that. So yeah, it's a good point.
I think what you just described is just being a patient person. Like
Yeah.
and patient enough for understand the other person's side and for deal with them accordingly, basically.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mhm.
So kind of take it from that route and expand on it in a sense.
How
So
you
yeah, this is my time for ask question. What do you guys think about me based on everything we said so far?
But on different levels, these are some thoughts that I've been having as well, because I'm quite introspective in terms of that. Like going on my walks and just thinking about my life and my purpose as well. That's why I try to ask that question to everyone that comes on the podcast, because I believe if you have a purpose or you found a purpose or you're actively trying to figure out what your purpose is, that means you're on the path to finding you and living your life for you as well. I know when I said live your life for you, it might sound as selfish and individualistic to some people, but living your life for you doesn't necessarily mean that it will be selfish and individualistic, because someone can be living their life for their kids and that's what makes them happy. That's their purpose, to ensure that their kids are happy. So you can look at it from that perspective as well. So I like how you see it, and I like how you're saying that you are always evolving, always growing, because that's something I also try to incorporate in my life every day. I try to be 1% better than I was the day before, as just to put a number on it, just to keep growing. And I feel like the moment that I stop growing is the moment that I'll be planting it in the earth. That's it
Of
for me, because I
course.
want to keep growing emotionally, spiritually, physically, all the freaking alleys, until I leave this planet or until I go to another dimension or whatever there is, because that's also something that I'm thinking about. What is there outside of this
Yeah.
realm of my being as well? You see me?
Yeah, yeah. So how about you, Tonelli?
um
Did I pronounce your name right, by the way?
Tonil actually,
To Neil.
Tonil.
Tonil,
Yeah,
sorry,
Tonil.
Yeah.
Tonil. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually share the same sentiment as you guys. I think me they kind of start this journey a bit young. Reason being because me did kind of find myself not being so different from everybody else, but I kind of find myself in a passenger's not well a passenger seat, if I say that way, looking at my life. I'm kind of control things from then, from there, from that kind of perspective. Always living and try for learning and have good interactions with people and at the end of the day trying to work on self, even though it's always an uphill battle. And the higher you get, the more you expose and the longer the fall is. And the more critical you be of yourself because you know the heights you can reach and the heights you come from, you know? So I believe it's always an uphill battle. But more I say something about your music again. Sorry, back to you. Um your album, again, back to the older influences. I wanna know why. Why you go back to older influences in the music?
Foundation for me is so important, especially I study history. So it's like I'm always trying to build on what was already there because I see humanity and evolution, as we just even talked about, as a relay race. It's maybe not a race, but it's like a relay. You know, when you get the torch, you have the torch now, but it's not because you invented it. Where did it come from? Who passed it on? I always want to honor that, you know,
Yeah.
and then take it and move forward with it. So it's kind of the reason why you'll get the influence from the past and then know rude girl roots energy, which is present interpretation of that. So I always want to honor the roots. It's something I feel like I have to do or I want to do.
And I think you do it very well.
Thank you.
Yeah. You were
Thank you.
on Tony's top 10 albums for last year, reggae albums. So
Yes, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, for real, yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's amazing. So we never make it in
Yeah.
a year top 10 list.
I didn't say that, did I?
Well,
Did
you
I?
say you say it's Neil, so that means I never hear.
No, no. The thing is, my Tony is more full on reggae roots vibes. I like to dabble in the dancehall realm a little bit more. I enjoy, I'm more in the on the dancehall side of the music. So I would
Okay,
have.
where your favorite dancer
I
artist?
don't want to say that. I don't want to say
Ah,
that.
can't
Yeah,
name
we
the
don't
man.
want.
Can't
No, we
name the
don't
man.
want to say that. We don't want to say that. We don't want to
No,
say that. We
but
don't want to
where
say that.
reason? Where reason?
Is that all right? The issue with me on dancehall music is me hate that I like some of them. That is my biggest
At
thing.
least you can
I
admit
hate,
it.
yeah, I hate that I like some of their music. But if I was to pick, normally I grew up listening to Beanie Man, Elephant Man. That's the kind of, you know, to be honest, them that the safest choice. But when it comes to the modern generation, like me, that's a Valiant right now, as I like his work, like his music, Chronic Law. Honestly, if the more conscious one, me that's a Chronic Law when me I was some deep depressive meds and them thing there. So that would have been my journey. And then on my top 10 list, them would have probably edge you out if I'm being honest in terms of who me that say for the top 10 albums for the last year in my one.
Honesty is
But
the best policy.
no, I'm not gonna steer and lie to you just because I'm an interview. But
No,
if
no,
I
no,
was to say
no. And I wouldn't appreciate that either.
the five female reggae artists last year, but I say you and Shaniel Muir were it for me. You know,
Oh,
you and
that's what's
Shaniel
up.
Muir, yeah, you and Shaniel Muir. I feel like your music and your vibe, would do great things together if we ever do a collab. I don't know if we have one out there, but I like her. Oh, she can switch from she can do the roots reggae and then she switch to hardcore dancer, which is something that you can do as well. So I feel like the energy with that a bit balanced. And the two one is smart as well, which is also another thing. Both intelligent women that you can hear it from. And me find that very pleasing to the ear. Me hate a woman would just well, not hate a woman, but just hate the message when them just reduce themselves to one thing. Where them not feel like
Yeah.
there's more to it. And I can when I listen to her music and I listen to the interviews them that you guys have both done before, I can feel that intelligence and that passion and it just blend well for me. So two album them Echoes of Her, Shaniel Muir last year, and your album. That's it. You see me?
Thank you.
But you're processing of your music now. What is your process? Tell the people out there that don't know about YEZA's music and the people that know about YEZA's music, what makes YEZA's music just authentically hers.
It's authentically mine because it's built around who I am and I have no replica and I have no rival. So that's the first thing. And it's built around me in the sense that I am a very cultured artist who appreciates, as we talked about, the forerunners and the people who paved the way, but also adding my dimension to the music. Growing up in a dancehall space as well, where I was not just attuned to reggae music, but also attuned to dancehall music and appreciating those influences and having the wherewithal for bring it together, in terms of just the influence and the vibes, the style, the ghetto style with some of the polished style and the ragamuffin, as we would call it in our reggae music. That culmination for me is it speaks to who I am and it speaks to the difference woman really feel like me carry in the music.
Mhm. And what is the next sound for you? What's the next song, that we can say, hey, this will be Yeza pushing forward, breaking new boundaries, and taking on the world? What's that song that you feel? Do you feel like you have that song already?
I don't feel like I have that song yet, to be honest. Um,
Are you writing it at the moment?
yeah, may I write it? I don't know if we're ready for it, but
Yeah, give it a sneak peek then. Give it. You have the hook.
no, 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 I'm not like that for you. I don't even remember how it go in terms of that. But when we're in the
Okay.
zone, what I think about to add to that question is what I think about is obviously being authentic, but also permeating the culture because in a stop of Jamaica, in a stop of
Hmm.
Jamaica,
Lord have
breaking the
mercy.
boundaries, as we say, the global reach, but also being authentic and putting out something where Jamaicans can like and foreigners can like as well. So I feel like I'm working on it, refining my sound based on the first album. I feel like that is just honestly the first album, Star of the East, is like I'm getting some things off of my chest. You see me?
Mm.
But this or my next project will be more refined in terms of the song. And I feel like that song is not going to veer too far from what we hear upon Star of the East, but it's gonna be a little bit more refined. I do sing, for instance, so I'm gonna hear more melodies. I'm gonna hear the chopping same way in terms of lyrics because I love playing with words, I love cadence and them thing there. So I'm very excited. I think it's going to be Root Girl Roots still, but it's going to be a more refined Root Girl Roots.
Mhm. Your
Sounds
your
good, sounds
flagship
good.
song, Organic. Uh, I think nowadays that song is more needed than any other song. Cause
Trust
no,
me.
no, is it that the dolly them around the road, and it's the hot thing. Like if you're not getting plastic surgery, if you're not enhancing your body, you're not the hot girl anymore. So that song is definitely needed. Have you received any backlash from that from women, from especially women in the industry that has undergone procedures?
Not necessarily direct from women in the industry, but I've gotten a lot of backlash from the comments section. But I would say it's 10% compared to 90% of love. So it's really kind of like, minuscule when you look at it in terms of the perspective and the grand scheme of things. But yeah, you have people where be like, oh, so like I just had a baby and this and that and nothing wrong because I want to look good, I want to feel good, just like you. And a lot of people be like, oh, so you because you born so you already get
Mm,
what we are trying to buy, so you can say whatever. I get a lot of those comments, but I feel like the point is not oh absolutely against what we're doing in any regard as it relates to cosmetic procedures. The point is, why is this your first resolve? Why is it the first
Mm.
resolve? Because we're talking about no going into the mind and introspection and asking yourself, is this a problem with my concept of who I am, self concept, confidence level, comparison, because social media do a heck of a job of that, you know? Can we analyze some of those things too before we go run go doctor? Go do
mhm.
undergo life threatening procedures. That's the vibe.
I want to ask you a question. You think that some people need that procedure? That thought ever come to your mind that some people might actually need that procedure?
Need
Or
is a very strong word. I've
I mean,
known
for
need. I wouldn't say need. I don't think nobody needs. I don't think nobody needs that because that would imply that, oh my God, you cannot exist without it. I feel like a lot of people strongly desire it, maybe for some people, some for a good reason. The reason that I am most um, lenient, or I feel some type of way in terms of sentimental about, is maybe the mother who's trying to find back herself. You know, that's where I feel a little bit emotive about it. Because bringing humans into this world is no joke, son. You see me?
Mm.
But I would still say it still shouldn't be your first resort. I feel like as women, we're not trying to police each other, but at the same time, we have to raise these questions so we can understand what we're doing, because a lot of us are just on autopilot because of what's trending. And this is just the issue that we're having now in a society where everybody kind of just step on autopilot. We want to come out of autopilot and we want to ask some serious questions about what we're doing and why we're doing what we are doing.
Yeah.
other
Well,
than
I
music, other than
hold
music,
on.
you
Well,
think?
Tony, before you jump to that,
Yeah.
Mother say yo, that seemed like the next epidemic to hit Jamaica. You know where we're into that big bleaching phase. Like almost everyone was bleaching. I feel like this is the next phase of Jamaica. The only thing keeping a lot of women from doing it is just the lack of finances and access to do it. If it was for their choice, they would have done it. You know, and
I
it
can
does it
I
come
can
back
give
to the
you
whole inferiority complex thing as well.
yeah, yeah. I can give you guys some insight to based on my personal experience. And since organic come out, I've had a lot of messages from women who personally tell me say because of the song, them cancel appointments that were literally like maybe 2 weeks from now,
Wow.
next month, things like that. I've literally had so many of these messages where a girl was about to do a boob job, she was about to do lipo, she was about to do the BBL, and she would tell me, I heard a song, cancel my appointment. So I feel like this is where we come in as artists, using with power for do the right thing. Like, why are we telling everybody to go do this or something with knowing say so many people can literally die?
I was going to ask, other than music, which vehicle do you use to preach this message, to get this message out to people? Same one you
What
just tell me.
Yeah, that's a good question because music I want, I'm a tool. I am also an author in the making.
Ah,
Um, I would consider myself also to be a philosopher. I do have a lot of different theories and thoughts that I put together. And I'm actually working on just compiling it because I write every day. And sometimes when we write, it's not just music, it's just thoughts, things with my ideas, with me I grapple with, concepts with me I grapple with. For sometimes months, sometimes weeks, me just I think about a specific concept and trying to relate it to certain things when I see certain patterns in a society, certain human behavior. So I would say I'm a philosopher and I'm an author, and these are tools that I use to bring out the messages as well.
What theory is keeping you up at night? No.
Hmm?
What theory is keeping you up at night now?
Oh, right now, right now I've been in the midst of the gender war dynamic.
Mm.
I've been in the
Okay.
middle of just trying to rationalize this. So what we want to think about that. I think like podcasts are one of the big changes in terms of heightening the gender wars personally,
is.
because
Yeah.
everybody is on there talking about who forget 50-50 and all these other things. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. You see me? So I've been looking into that. on a deeper level though, trying to understand the misogynist, the misandrist, and also when we strip out all of that, like what really left, what's left behind, what's the truth behind all of that. I've been looking into those concepts recently.
Yeah. What do you think about the podcast aspect of it? Because I've been thinking about it as well. What do you think about it? How they have they impacted that entire conversation?
And what's the
To be
craziest
honest,
thing
I
you've
feel
heard
like the pod.
recently?
Go ahead,
And
Tania.
what's the craziest thing you've heard recently?
Yeah, to me, the podcast literally add fuel to the fire in terms of the gender war. Let me just put it
Hmm.
out there. Podcast single-handedly in so many ways, just like add some kerosene nail to the fire of the whole gender war thing, because it's like so many people come on and they're like, this is what they require, but they're not saying it just as a personal sense because they're on a public platform, and then so many people listen to that now and take on and try to demand it from them partner, and it creates a lot of tension, I believe. The craziest thing over here. Oh shit. Sorry. There was this guy. I don't know the artist name. I don't know if he was an artist. And somebody asked him if he can have beautiful women around him, something like that. And he was like, are you crazy? He was like, no, she is not trying to. He's like, a beautiful woman is not about to be around me trying to act like and play like she ain't, you see me, like we ain't attracted to one another, something like that. Thought that was really crazy because you tell upon yourself, say, you know, have no self control,
No discipline.
no discipline, you objectify women. And to me, it just a show. So we are living a day and age where a lot of men, unfortunately, have let their desires become their gods instead of them being their servants.
You're
Completely
speaking
right.
facts, and then you can go and listen to podcasts that reinforce that belief.
Yep.
You want me to list out podcasts?
No, no, I'm gonna say, and then you can listen to a podcast that reinforces that belief, that makes it even more ingrained in the person that
Oh,
they feel like they are
oh,
right.
oh.
Because
Yo, yo.
now they have someone out there that has a platform and authority and credibility because he has 100,000 people watching him every week, and if a hundred
Ah,
thousand people are watching him every week, that
Must be
means he has
something
exactly.
some
good.
credibility. I'm no longer alone, so it must be true.
Yeah, yeah. So me want to ask on something now, because I'm not two,
Yeah, man.
young
Yeah,
men
man.
in the
Ask.
thing. Want to think about red pill?
The red pill. I think the red pill is kind of dead, dying now. No, people have woken up to that entire aspect of it just being
Me-
hyper masculinity that is not real masculinity.
Yeah, it's
No,
all
there's
for a
so much
show.
more.
It's
Yeah,
more for a show. And I think people
it's
catch on to it now.
superficial.
It's just
Yeah, it's
people catch on to it that it's just entertainment. Some of the
yeah.
things with them said it actually like don't fit into the reality of the world, the fabric of the world we live in. So I think
Mhm.
people actually wake up to that now.
And
Yeah.
when they know, they're seeing that the leaders of the red pill movement and the loudest voices, they're not living the lifestyle that they said the red pillars should be living. So now
Yeah.
it's just falling apart. It's falling apart and crumbling because it doesn't really have the legs, to
I
stand on.
actually never know that. That's good news.
No, 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 no. All right. If you look at most of the red pill podcasters, the biggest ones in the name, they've gone more towards political debates now. That's
Oh.
where because they go towards where the money is, and the money is
Yeah. And the
political
hot topics.
content. The left versus the right kind of content as well. But
Oh.
there's still red pill. There's still red pill out there, and they're still very very strong in the industry, but people are
Mm.
waking up to it, and guys are realizing that they can't get laid by listening to red pillars anymore. And if they're driven by that desire, then they're not going to follow that. The next thing that is coming up now is more the maxing concept. I spend a lot of time on the internet, unfortunately.
Explain
For
this,
example,
Davian.
so
What is that?
for example, maxing. There's this guy. His name he's a kid. He's 19 year old, and they call him clavicular. His thing is looks maxing. So
Oh,
he
I
has
know.
framed being handsome as being his maximum potential. He's like, if you're not you're not an 8 out of 10 on the handsome scale, that means you have not been maximizing your looks. So he does
Ah,
things to looks max, like he takes steroids, he injects stuff, and then it would be for the women, they would looks max by doing plastic surgery. So they push that. So they've this basically repackaged this, this superficial notion. Then everyone's trying to max out on their potential as well. So I think that's the next movement
but
that's going to sweep the internet.
Davian, is it really a bad thing? I guess it would be a bad thing depending on what you want to max out. If I want to
Well,
max out, no, no, as in like you can take something bad and turn it good, right?
yeah. Hmm.
For example, me want max out how much knowledge I have about, for example, Egyptology, for example. I
Hmm.
want max out my potential for make we say no to people when we need to say no.
So you
We'd
want
have to
no
do the
maxing.
groundwork and all of these things. But I guess, as I say, you can always turn something bad and make it into something good.
Yeah.
It's just that, as I said, these platforms them have a lot of influence. And
Mm-hmm.
if 200,000 people watching them videos every week, then put out the videos, then go and
Mm-hmm.
continue with the same content because it's what pay them. And
Yeah.
people who don't know that this is not reality, them
Mm-hmm.
jump on board not knowing. Them see 200,000 likes and say, yeah, this person must be doing something good because a lot of people watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
As well always say, street. Next one is the streaming aspect of it.
Load.
Streaming versus shock value.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a lot of that where people try to go to the most extreme versions of things in order to stand out from the others. So they're going to shock value max to some
Mm-hmm.
extent. Like you'll have
That's bad.
streamers doing stuff that are on the borderline of being criminal just so that they can stand out. So that's where I see it going. Um, I would say more devolving
Mm-hmm.
to the worst parts of herself in order to get garner attention from the world. But our podcast will never be that. We will never be a maxing podcast unless it's maxing consciousness. You
Yes.
know?
Always.
Isn't it?
So what
All
do you
right.
guys think the podcast represent though? What is the main message that you'd want to come out of this podcast?
We
This
want
one with
people to
us.
be. We just want
Mm-hmm.
people have a good time when them listen to it and them learn something at the same time. We kind of try. It's like intercation. What we call it, Davian?
Editing.
Edutainment.
Edutainment. We
Yeah.
educate and entertain you at the same time. So you
Yeah.
always be
Okay.
laughing, but you learn something at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We
And
try to keep
I
it
Okay.
like
want
that.
I don't want people to just maybe use it as a vehicle to start thinking more about finding themselves and finding their purpose as well.
Yeah.
Even if it means you just watch one episode and you don't come back and you get something good out of it, I'll feel better about myself. When we get a comment and somebody say, "Hey, I've been struggling with this and you guys have been helping me get through
Leave
that."
the world.
That those are world of wonders versus someone saying, "Oh, you may imagine I could put out a podcast how it is to get girls," and people be like, "Oh, I clotted or I cracked 5 girls last weekend." That would literally made me feel like a piece of shit, you know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
On purpose.
That's good stuff. And that just kind of
yeah.
put things into perspective that we're all doing our part in this whole web
Mhm.
of you know
Yeah.
professions and I would say endeavors. So yeah, it's a great thing that we have that we need
Yeah.
people on every aspect where I carry the torch, where I carry good
Mhm.
messages to the people in different
Yeah.
aspects and different ways.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
don't get wrong, we talk about the fucker them too, we talk about the woman and them thing there as well, but
The gender
never to
wars.
a,
As I
never
say,
to never
do it
never to a
respectfully.
yeah, never to an extreme. Because
Mm-mm.
if you're extreme in anything, that's a site that should be the main indicator that you might be wrong. If you're not questioning anything and you're so convinced by something, it you might just be blinded by your own, or what's the word, narcissistic tendencies as well,
Yeah.
which is something I've also been writing about, narcissism, to see if maybe I am a narcissist to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
But as I
To
say, but as I said before, with like certain reggae artists, we kind of suppress that kind of side to themselves, but behind closed doors, it kind of explosive. We don't want
Yeah.
that to be. So
yeah,
we kind of try to get that out sometimes.
Yeah,
We have
All
listeners,
right.
you know?
I can live
yeah.
I can
Yeah.
appreciate that because to me them thing there is really just true representation. We are
Mm.
multifaceted beings and the moment we try to be something where we're not, it's gonna be problematic. And people like for interpret this as, maybe you're not really firm in a way I do, but it's not really firm. I feel like throughout the years and throughout just listening to music and just being in the industry, we kind of forget with nature, with true nature,
Mm.
and the fact that we can hold space for multiple different things as long as we're being constructive and not destructive. See what I
True.
mean?
Mm-hmm. And when push come to shove, the real person will come out.
Yeah.
The real you will come to rise to the top.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I have no worries. I have no second guessing about time, space, and when and how. I feel
Mm.
like just follow your map, you know?
Mm.
Your map
All
different
right.
from everybody else map.
All
You're
right.
really
Before we
different.
leave,
Hmm?
the Last in Time Festival,
Ah, yes.
YEZA will be there.
Yes.
How did you feel when you got the call up?
It was amazing because I was already on tour in the US and I was getting ready for a show and then got the call from Proto. He personally called me and say, "Oh, I want you on the show for this year." And I'm like, "Yo, this is cool,"
Mm.
you know? So
Nice.
I feel good. I feel like right now I'm stepping into more and more when me know something I'm supposed to do. So it's confirmation and it's also blessings. Like appreciate all of this, but it's also, yeah, this is it, you know?
Yeah. Movements. Are you touring
Nice.
in Europe in the summer, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
What's on the agenda so far so people can look out and so we can probably buy a ticket too.
I'm going to be getting that information soon, but I think yeah, in the dates them not fully locked yet. So I don't want for
Mm.
out anything, but yeah, as soon as I confirm that, definitely let you guys know.
Yeah. Any countries in mind? You coming to Spain?
Spain.
Yeah.
Spanish Town.
He says Spanish. I don't know about Spain. I think my Switzerland, Germany, maybe them thing there, them country there.
Okay, okay.
Don't really know about
Germany
Spain
possible.
yet.
Okay. Would love to see you on one of the big festivals, in Spain.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it
So
out there
where are you
for the
guys
artists.
located?
We're in Spain. That's
The
what I was
south
saying, Spain.
of Spain, the south of Spain, we are in.
Jesus,
Yes.
Yeah,
Spain.
Yes.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We need another
yeah.
conversation so you can tell me what it's like and why you guys out of all the country them found yourself in a Spain.
Every day we
Can
ask ourselves the same question, but we just know so we're there and where I live and where I live. And I try to align with the purpose, you know?
Amazing.
yeah,
I think it's amazing because it's like
yeah,
it's not really so normal. So it's like the thought process we go behind it, that must be something spectacular.
yeah. As I say, we're up on a journey,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sometimes
man.
life
yeah.
just take it. I never thought I would be living in Spain.
Me either.
Yeah, if I was living abroad, it was like, oh, I'll probably go to New York or something.
Yeah, always the regular choice, because, yeah.
But Spain
Oh
was never on the
wow.
cards. But
Amazing.
now we're here and we're doing it.
Yeah. So if one can describe what Spain is like and an experience, like what would you say? You know.
For me,
Hmm.
Spain Spain is like Jamaica in a different language. The part of Spain where we live, like Jamaica in a different language. I don't
Really?
know.
Jamaica?
It's like in a different language in terms of the people are loud, they're bold, they're proud, um, they're friendly as well. There are so many commonalities that they share. The only thing that I would say is different is that their family and lifestyle structure is a bit different.
Yeah.
Whereas a Spanish family exists in tiers. For example, the first the childcare in a Spanish family is the grandparents' essential duty. So if you have grandparents, while parents are at work, the grandparents will be retired and taking care of the children. That's the only thing that I see is a major difference, even though it happens
Oh,
in Jamaica, but it's not here. It's more like if you see the kids in the park in the evening, You're not gonna see them with a nanny unless they're rich. You're gonna see them with their grandma.
Yeah.
They do the social aspect. They go out, they drink and have a beer, eat the tapa, and socialize. They eat at late hours of the night.
I've
It's
heard that one that them eat very late
yeah,
dinners.
yeah, yeah. Like if I wanted to, it's 10:50 now. I just had dinner like an hour ago before right before we started
Yeah.
this podcast, and
Oh,
that's me having it. And if I was going out for dinner, I would just be sat down for dinner with friends now.
uh-huh.
So certain things like that, but overall, I would say lots of similarities to Jamaica
And
versus
it, and
differences.
everything, like how everything take like a few hours longer in a Jamaica. Basically the same here.
Yeah,
There's this saying, no pasa nada, which means don't worry, calm down.
yeah. Or mañana, or
Yeah,
mañana.
mañana,
Tomorrow,
tomorrow.
we can't do tomorrow. We put it after tomorrow. There's
Yeah,
the
basically.
Jamaicans are notoriously late. Spanish people notoriously late as well.
Yeah,
Oh my
almost the same.
God. So we have to learn Spanish?
Well, still
Yeah,
learning.
yeah,
My friend there is fluent. Still learning. Still learning.
yeah. People say I'm fluent. People say I'm
He
fluent.
is.
But kind of,
He is fluent.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to learn the language of the land, right, David?
Trying to. I know
Yes,
my
yes.
weaknesses, but yeah,
Yeah, that's
in terms of
valuable.
that, it's a calm place in terms of that stuff. Still, if you
My
live in
mother
the
is
Sierra,
going there in 2 weeks, I think.
Ah,
where's she going? You can give her some tips.
I don't remember what the place name. I can ask
well then,
her.
all right.
Probably I can message you.
Yeah, man. Is there anything you want to share for your fans out there?
The new collabs coming.
Oh well. When you guys publishing this?
In 2 weeks, probably.
Okay, well it's not relevant.
What's it? What were you gonna say? Just in case, because
Well, my
sometimes the
birthday is the
editing.
February 19th, and I'm performing at High Frequency
Okay.
this
Ah,
Thursday.
this
So
Thursday.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, I don't think we'll be making it for
No,
Thursday.
that's fine. That's fine. And then, well, you guys mentioned Lost in Time already.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, pretty much. I've music working on. Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Things are in the
for
works.
the album, most of the album was done with Rory Stone Love. Um,
Yeah.
how come you didn't incorporate other producers on the album as well?
So usually when him do projects, him kind of do it solitary, a theme
Mm-hmm.
style, you know. Personally, me like to also work with producers, like just do a project with them. I feel like I kind of like that rather than doing a bunch of different sounds from different producers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not saying I'm not open to that, but I think I do like the aspect where me and a producer just create a sound together. You know, kind of see where that takes us. For the next project, I'm probably not gonna be working with Rory. I'll probably work with other people, um, just to explore and see the chemistry how it works. Because I'm still trying to find a refined
So,
version of Rude Girl Roots, as we say. So yeah.
Okay,
all right.
okay. All
Go
right.
and refine it. Go and refine it.
I want to refine it, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
man. All right. All right, Yeza, much respect. Thank you for tuning in. People,
Thank
check
you.
out Yeza's music.
Thank you guys for
Yeah,
having me.
always, man. And if you come to
Yeah, man.
Europe,
I
we'll
keep
do
up
one
the
in
good
person.
work. Keep up
Yeah,
the good
man.
work. This is a good platform.
Yeah, man. We want, you know what? Tell all of the reggae artists them I want to come on a podcast to link with. All because you don't know the
You,
grapevine there.
you can do
Of
some for years.
course,
You can
Yeah.
give a little musical big up.
of course.
The
So,
Yardman
You
podcast.
want a freedom?
so what do you want me to do it like pan in a studio like what?
Oh, right, yes, all right
No.
now. Just shout
Really?
you out.
Subscribe to the Yardman podcast so we can clip it.
All right. Hey yo, this is Yeza. Rude Girl Roots, another place. Make sure to subscribe to the Yardman podcast. Good content, conscious messages. You don't know. So subscribe to the thing and support good platform. Yeah.
Much
Yes, I said
respect,
that.
much respect.
We organic, but the dynamic.
Hear that, people?
That's it.
What
That's it.
good. What good.